All right, we should be live, so hopefully this is working. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today, this is actually the first one of these live interviews that I've done. So, hopefully, gonna make more out of these and might turn it into a weekly recurring Hangout session on Monday night. But the first one that I'm doing, I have a really cool guest that I'm super excited to have on. Is Kyle Peace. You might have seen him and his brother do Ironman Kona. They've done that as well as many other races. And I've known Kyle for quite a few years. Super excited to have him on. So with that, I will go ahead and bring Kyle in, and we're just going to have a chat for like 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, however long Kyle wants. I've got some questions, but then if anyone else has any questions, you can just leave them in the chat, and we can chat with Kyle. So with that, Kyle, you should be on. Hello.
Hello, how are you, man?
I'm good. It's funny.
Good.
It's been like 2 years since I've seen you in person.
I know it's been yeah, it's been a couple of years.
It's been a long time. So I think most of the people who follow my channel probably know who you are and what you've done, but you want to just give an intro and feel free to brag about yourself for a little bit.
Okay. So I'm Kyle Pease. I have cerebral palsy, spastic quadriplegia, which means it affects all four of my limbs. And I'm wheelchair bound. But that doesn't stop me from pursuing my life and loving what I do. I currently am a employee for the Kyle Pease Foundation, which me and my older brother Brett established together 10 years ago. And we help other disabled individuals do anywhere from a 5K to an Ironman. Um, and so I have done 4 Ironman, and the foundation has helped over 80 athletes and their families cross many finish lines together. And now we have gone beyond the finish to help individuals with disabilities find jobs and help them kind of be a resource for them. So we're kind of going beyond the finish. So yeah,
But
that's Kyle in a nutshell.
Kyle and it, yeah, it's a pretty big nutshell, man. I like
But
how you just casually drop 4 Ironmans. Uh,
yeah,
4 Ironmans and how many marathons and races?
oh man, for Ironman, I'm probably about 40 half marathons, and
Mm-hmm.
and I would say about 7 or 8 half Ironmans, and
Yeah.
probably close to 105 Ks and 10 Ks now.
Yeah, I knew it was a lot. I didn't know the number, but I was like, let's not undersell that either.
Yeah, yeah,
So we'll talk about KPF, the Kyle Peace Foundation, in a bit. And for anyone who's not familiar with Kyle Peace Foundation, I put a link to that in the description below, so you can check out Kyle's organization. And there's a book out now, which I want to hear about because I haven't read the book, but I want to hear about the book, which coincidentally is titled Beyond the Finish. I know. Um, so like I said, if anyone has any questions for Kyle, feel free to put them in the chat. But can you just talk to me about um, what originally got you into Iron Man and your brother Brent, and how that whole story went?
yeah. It's a great question. So Brick, um, was was out of shape, and he wanted to get back into shape after college. So after college, he started to find out what this whole triathlon and road races were, and he built his way up from all the way from a half triathlon. I mean, they call it an Olympic triathlon, and I built his way up to his first Ironman in Louisville, Kentucky in 2010. He invited the whole family to come. Um, and it was really cool, man, because it was my first like trip as an adult that I booked. Like I booked my own hotel room, and
Nice.
um, I went out with my caretaker who was happens to still be taking care of me 12 years later. And he's um, he's turned out to be a good friend. And now, so we went up there, we hit up all the bars and all that because, I mean, you couldn't tell me anything.
Right.
Uh, and then the next day we went to the race, and I would get into all that, not only what Brett did that day, but all the other athletes. And it was really um, a very solid reminder of my life, of what I go through, all the ups and downs. And then after his day, 12 hours and 24 minutes and 42 seconds, after his day, we kind of sat down at dinner, and that's how the journey got started. When I asked him, "Can people in wheelchairs do Ironman?" And he said, "Absolutely." And how can you not say no to
Right.
your little brother as well?
How long did it take from Brent's first and when you asked that question to when you sort of got your racing chair and started racing with him?
Yeah, it was pretty quick after that. We contacted Dick and Rick Hoyt, who are the famous um, duo that have also done Kona, and they are the trailblazers for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, they are the role models. They have paved the way for so many people like Brent and myself, but now so many other duo teams. They had a guy with Down syndrome that uh, competed at Ironman Florida a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
It became the first person with Down syndrome to conquer Ironman. So the horse was just kind of like the tipping point for all of this. So, like I said, they're the role model, they're the trailblazers. So we contacted them quickly after I asked that question to Brett, and then it kind of spiraled down from there. So we got the jogger pretty quickly after that, and we started practicing, and we did our first 10K in March of 11. Um,
Okay.
did our first half the week later in the middle of March, and then we found ourselves at a triathlon in April. Um,
So you all
so that,
moved you started you went from nothing to a half faster than I went from like running a 5K to running a half marathon.
yeah, yeah, we went pretty quick.
Uh what was that first one like?
Um, the first triathlon or the first road race?
Let's do both.
Well, the first road race, I remember I got made fun of by my brother
Which
because,
one, Brent?
yeah, well, they always make fun of me, but yeah, because I came to the race in my public uniform, and I don't know if you remember the old public uniforms were green, like a loud green with a blue tie and a vest.
Was this the Publix half, or were you just in that?
Um, no, I was in that because I had to go to work afterwards, right?
Nice.
And so Brett was like, "You're gonna get all sweaty," and I'm like, "Well, somebody has to." I'm like, "I gotta make money after this too." Um, so but I learned my lesson the hard way, and then I got some good athletic wear that I could wear. Um, and so that was the first experience where I was underprepared. I was I had no idea what I was doing, and yeah, that. But now I know how to wear my cool sunglasses and get myself hydrated and all of that.
Yeah.
And the first triathlon, I think I was more nervous because it was the open water swim, and I was in a kayak, and the waves were a little bit rocky that day.
Yeah.
Um, so it was quite the interesting. It was interesting because everybody was so nervous, except for me. My mom was a basket case, and it was just a hot message for us, to be honest with you. But once we got out in the ocean, it was pretty remarkable, pretty incredible feeling to be the athlete that I always wanted to be, right? And
Yeah.
from watching the Falcons growing up to the Braves, and now me having the feeling of being the Braves or be the Falcons, running out of the locker room and be ready to go. It was like I was shot out, shot out, shot out like a cannon. It was truly one of the best days of my life. That first triathlon.
I think a lot of people would echo that. That first one is a really big deal, where like you've wanted to do something for so long.
Yeah,
can you help people understand? So for people who've never seen like racing chairs or kayaks, because I don't want to say you're uncomfortable, but I know it's not a super pleasant experience for you at all times. Like I know it's really hard for you. So can you help people understand like what it's like um, to basically go through the race in? I know you've got a new bike now, but either the bike you've had or the newer bike.
yeah. I mean, so I sit in a wheelchair for like 15 to 18 hours a day, and it's contoured to my body. It's with all my spasms and all my movement. Um, you know, it I'm strapped out pretty good. But in the lazy wheelchair, we made all these adaptations, but it's not my wheelchair, right? And
Right.
so it feels like I've been run over by an 18 wheeler after we get done with the race. So, um, you know, even though I'm not doing the physical activity of the sport, I'm very much involved, and I have to keep Brett on track and make sure that we both stay positive because whenever we are in a race, one of us, you know, it is bound to get down, you know, throughout the day. So we have to make sure that we stay mentally prepared as well.
Yeah. Somebody commented and said that Kyle, you are a huge inspiration. So you've definitely got fans out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One of the things to what you just said about you helping Brent out too. I've heard Brent say that you can't do it without him, and he can't do it without you. Can you tell people a little bit about like the interaction that you have with Brent while you're out on the course?
Yeah, I think every race is a little bit different. I did for the longer events, I get the Ironmans and stuff like that. We have deeper conversation. Um, but for the short races, um, we don't really say a whole lot to each other unless I feel that we
Yeah.
need. We don't really. I'm not a morning person, um, so anything after 9 o'clock, I'm good to go. But anything before 9, is a stretch for me. But you know, I think Brett is one of the best athletes that I know. And I think um, the way he prepares for events um, and me for the event it's amazing. And you know, it just like it's just like an NFL player or anything like that. You have to prepare yourself. You have to hydrate. You have to get your nutrition right. You have to go out on the bike course a couple of days before, and kind of get a feel of what to expect and all of that. And so you got to do your homework, and
Right.
you got to be prepared. So, yeah, I think we do a great job of balancing each other, and like you said, without Brett, none of this is possible. Without me, we can't do it with either one of us. So, um, yeah, so
I know that you actually just reminded me of something. Like, I know for me, with just everything that's going on lately, like, my stress levels have been higher, and I've totally had days where, like, I just don't want to train. Like, I am definitely in worse shape now than I was like 6 or 7 months ago. Like, I've got more time, but I have less motivation. And
yeah,
I suspect that a lot of people are in similar boats. And then, like, every time I've listened to you talk, or I've talked to you and Brent, I'm like, wow, I actually have it super easy. Um, what is it that helps you both get out and train on days where, like, you're not in the mood, Brent's not in the mood, the weather sucks? Like, how do you guys deal with that?
yeah. I mean, you did Marie Court, marathon with us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually stalking you right now, looking at your Facebook page, Justin. But yeah, you were out there, and um, last year, I think in 2019, it was my first time doing the marathon, the Marie Court marathon, right? Because with the ability, experience, and what we do with the foundation, that's kind of a rookie that for us. But logistically, that's a hard race for the foundation to take all of our athletes from Atlanta to DC. So it was our last time for a couple of years. I know we're gonna go back, maybe next year or the year after. But I had to do the race last year, and
Mm-hmm.
it was horrible weather. It poured,
Yeah.
poured, and I'm like, why did I sign up to do this? But you just have to prepare,
Yeah.
raincoat and everything. And like here I am in the cold and the rain, and I'm looking at the Capitol with the lights on, a Starbucks right next to the Capitol, and I'm like, God, why can't I go in there right now?
Yeah, it's
So
way more appealing.
yeah, so even though I'm not doing it again, I still have those feelings just like everybody else does. Hey, I'm not feeling this today.
Yeah.
But it's like my old college professor told me, you knew it was dangerous when you signed up for it. So, I knew what I was getting myself into. And I guess whenever I go out to race, I try to remember to show people what is possible. And I hope I do that. But at the same time, I just, I'm human, right?
Right.
I have those feelings. So, how do I get myself out of those negative feelings and all of that? And I think that's where Brent and I have a competitive advantage is we have each other out there and we can depend on one another and we can let our love for one another carry us when we're not at our best.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who train by themselves understand how hard it can be, but, like, even if you just have one person out there who's willing to, like, pull you out on days you don't want to do anything. It really helps.
Yeah.
Jared says, amazing, interesting listening to his time out on the range. Jeez, excuse me. Amazing, interesting listening to his time out on the race course. No excuses. What a winner.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I want to talk a little bit about because you just hinted at it. So like I did Marine Corps Marathon 18 with you all, where like I was a part of a 3-person team where we pushed a wheelchair enabled athlete. Kim was awesome. Um, can you tell people a little bit about what Kyle Peace Foundation does, like what it does, what it did then, and now kind of what you're transitioning to as well?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think you gave a great illustration, but of what the foundation does. So it teams up athletes with disabilities with volunteers, whether that's a family member or a friend or a relative. The KPF comes in, it takes care of everything from race entries to hotels if we do a Marine Corps marathon, or even if we do a local event in Atlanta and we get up early, we kind of put our athletes in a good position so they can be ready and they can feel like they are successful. So from hotel to registration to coaching, we get everything lined up and we help regardless of need. Um, so whether we do an event as a group or whether you do an event in your local neighborhood or area, you can always contact us at kylepeacefoundation.org and you can fill out a little bit of paperwork and you can join us, and that's the best way to do that. So if you know somebody or you think of somebody and you're like, yes, this foundation is for this person, then sign them up. Or if you want to be a volunteer and you want to help us logistically, I always use a banana as an illustration that helping me with a banana makes a world of difference in my life. So you may not be the athletic person, but you're good at just letting your hands and your feet to help set up the equipment,
Yeah.
help with the logistics. We have an area for you as well. So just because you're not a runner doesn't mean, that we can't use you in other areas. So there's an application for a volunteer on the website as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I I loved. I mean, it was a really cool experience. Like I definitely when I did MCM, I think it was after Ironman, but I don't know. I think I was pretty physically burnt out at that point, and I remember I hit like mile 19, 20, 21, and I was dying. Like it was things were not going well for me, and I remember Kim was in just the best mood all day. Like that is absolutely what I remember the most from that race was she was loving every second of it.
yeah, yeah. I can't speak for you, but I'm sure that that was one of your best race experiences ever. Not because you did it with the foundation, and not because you're a podcast brother, right? But it was because you had a purpose in front of you,
Yeah,
and, and that was Kim, right?
yeah.
So
Like all
yeah,
three of us, we were like, there was never a question of like, there was never a question of pulling out of the race at
right,
all.
right.
Like, like even if it was just one of us, like one of us was gonna get her there. Yeah, it was really neat. Um, talk to me about so now KPF is expanding and doing more services as well, not just racing, right?
Yeah, so we, um, the the coronavirus had really changed the perspective of the foundation now, and now we have focused our energy on helping helping our network of people being able to help them during this time. So we help them go beyond the finish. You know, most of our athletes that we serve have challenges in their everyday life,
Right.
and they may not be able to um, have the finances to pay for rent for their apartment or a car note or whatever. So we help them with that so that they can sustain their everyday life to the best of their ability. So
That's
we
awesome.
we have focused all of our attention on that area as well. So we're trying our best. We want to get back to Lacey,
Yeah.
but we understand that we serve a higher we're more high at risk for the coronavirus. So we try to focus on that and helping them, be their best. And we just ordered a whole bunch of masks for all our athletes to wear.
Nice.
Wear a mask, and it will make a big difference. So I know I'll probably get some pushback on that, but you wear a mask, it will save a life. So
That works. Yeah, I'm all supportive of it. Uh, so, uh, again, if anyone in the comments has any questions for Kyle, feel free to type them in. Because people may have joined now that weren't here in the beginning. So, Kyle's done 4 Ironmans, including Ironman Kona. So is there anything left for you? Like, did you just win too quickly? Like, what's next for you? Like, what's next for you?
oh man, I think that's a great question. I think what next is to focus on the present and try to make this world a little bit better than what I left it yesterday and the day before. So I think I'm just trying to make my community better and to get better at my own life.
Yeah,
Uh, and focus on what we do good, and that is serving the disabled population. And yeah, so
yeah,
I don't know if there's a particular event that I want to do. I do want to do Kona again one day, but I don't know when that will be. But right now, I'll focus on growing the foundation and
yeah,
spreading the word of inclusion and just living by the example that anything is possible.
yeah. Um, no, it's really interesting because I think it's a great cause because people may not know this. I think, I mean, you know more about this than I do, Kyle. So feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But in my mindset, it's a bit of a chicken and an egg thing for athletes with disabilities because I once looked into, like, when I lived in Charlotte, I was a pilot for a visually impaired cyclist a few times, but the infrastructure just doesn't seem to exist. Like, there are needs that aren't being met, but because those needs aren't being met, like, those people don't know who to contact to find willing guides or pilots. It's an interesting problem.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's, you know, it's just like terrible policy. Like we have gotten a lot better. We Google terrible policy, but like about 5 years ago, you know, when you looked on muscular dystrophy, it was all over Google, and terrible policy that they have around out there. So I think that we're beginning to tap into that and
Yeah.
put it. putting resources out there so that people with disabilities can participate in sports. So I know there's so many like miracle miracle leagues for baseball and stuff. So they are beginning to open up more avenues for people to participate. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Like, I mean, it's it's been a while since I've done a race, but it does seem like even in the 5-10 years I've been involved in the sport, I remember when I was racing in North Idaho and Washington, like man, like a decade ago, like there was a wheelchair division, but it was usually just pros, and like it didn't seem like there was any like just amateur like people with disabilities who were out there racing, and now there are.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I think about the Peachtree Road Race here in Atlanta that has a professional wheelchair race and has a professional prize. You know, it's a
Yeah,
large it's the largest 10K in the world. Yeah, for the longest time, me and Brett wanted to do the Peachtree. It's in our backyard, right? So we had to have meeting with the Lag Track Club and the Shepherd Center that put it on, and they were very they were very open to the idea. It took a couple of years, but they were very open to it, and so Brett and I piloted the first push assist division for a 10K. And now it has grown from one athlete to nine athletes now.
yeah.
So it's truly amazing how people are so receptive to wanting to be an inclusive sport. So it's amazing.
I know. I remember when we were pushing Kim, like, I mean, Marine Corps Marathon, for those of you who haven't done it, MCM is, it's a busy race course. Like, there's spectators from the first step to the finish. It's basically just pure people. I think New York Marathon's kind of like that. Um, but MCM, like I remember every time we would go around a corner, like people would see Kim and like would just lose their mind with cheers. It was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like we did the New York Marathon, and when we did it in 2015, right? And when we did it, unfortunately, our wheel came off halfway through the race. Um, and so, but that was the first year that they had the pilot program for the purchase division. And we were 1 out of 5 teams, and only two of the teams were from the United States. So, I mean, it gets amazing to see how how the sport has grown, and it just goes back to how bad do you want it? How bad do you want something in your life? And I think that Brett and I continue to push the envelope, not only for ourselves but for people with disabilities, because they have feelings too,
Yeah.
and their life is very important as well.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what it's like, because it didn't happen to Kim. It didn't happen to me, but I remember uh, I've seen racing wheelchairs have problems on the race course. So like, what's that like for you, either as an athlete, or for you as a facilitator? Like, what's going through your head? Like, how do you handle that?
Well, now we're a lot smarter, Justin. We have volunteers that are strategically placed around the course,
Smart.
uh, so that they can help with anything that might be going on with the wheels. But it's a real it's a good kick.
Yeah.
Um, it's a good kick for for what's going on. So you really have to try your best to remain positive and focus on what you do best and what you got there, what got you there, and at the same time though you're like, oh shit, like
Yep.
this is this is just a part of it. Like I have to tell somebody how to feed me when we're out on the course, and I'm like, I don't I don't want to do that, but
Yeah.
it's a part of my life and it's a part of my reality. So I just think that um you have um to stay positive and focus on what you do good.
I think that's a. I mean, I think anyone can take a lesson from that because it's impossible to basically have a race where everything goes to plan. Like it's. I don't believe those races really exist for anyone, and like I've seen athletes just lose their mind out on the course because something doesn't go their way, like whether they're angry or whether they're crying or whether they're panicking, and like I get it. I've had some of those reactions too, but like like you said, well shit, it happened. Okay, but now like what are you going to do? Like is that going to define your race or are you going to get over it basically?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um talk to me about so we got like a lot of actual triathlon fans. So I don't know how often you get to talk about this, but I'm really curious to hear, and I actually don't know this one either. Um, your experience racing, like you talked about in the kayak, but like what's it actually like for you and Brent out on course?
Um
How about and for let's say for a longer race too, where you actually get to chat.
yeah, I think it's the longer races are something that I gravitate towards because they're longer races and I get what I do is I kind of get a gauge of of what's going on with Brett right away when we get on the bike. Obviously, we can't talk a whole lot in the water. But what I do on the water is I really yell at Brett, encourage you words and all that. And I try to save my energy as well. Um, just so I know we have a long day ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting our conversation. It starts off with a lot of encouragement, a lot of, build me up type of, quotes and, I think I can, I think I can, I think we can, you know, from the little edge that could.
Yep.
But then, um, like halfway through the race, he might ask me a random question like, "Why do you love me?" And I'm like, um, I mean, it does take me aback a little bit because, um, here we are in the biggest competition for our sport in the World Championships of Ironman in Kona. And you're asking me a question about why do you love me? But I think for that, Brett Brett is so good at his craft because he can take his mind off of something if he's in a bad spot and focus on our love and
Mm-hmm.
and that, and that's pretty amazing and pretty selfless that you can go from the biggest moment in our athletic career to talk about your love and your dedication for one another. So I feel that I'm a cheerleader, um, but I also feel that I'm a jockey as well. Try to coach him to the finish line. And honestly, Justin, and I think I've talked to you about this in passing and the Marine Corps is, focus on the next step or the next mile. Don't focus on, oh, I have to do 42 miles or I have to do 112 miles on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break it down and focus on mile by mile, step by step, instead of, oh my gosh, I gotta be out here for 17 days.
Yeah.
17 hours. And if you think of it like that, we're all gonna be doomed and we're all gonna be with so much anxiety and so much overwhelmingness that, we kind of forget to enjoy the moment. So that's what I try to focus on, even though, I want to get done as soon as possible because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
And anytime, anytime that you're out there for 15 to 16 hours and you pee on yourself and you fart on yourself, like,
Hey, that's not just you. That's all triathletes.
I know it's funny to fart on yourself, right? But like at the same time, it's uncomfortable when you have to sit there,
Yeah.
right? All day and you're stuck. So,
Yeah.
but I focus on, hey, like this is this is the best this is the best thing that has happened to me in a while, and I'm so grateful to Brett and the platform that we have, and it's truly amazing, and it's truly a blessing that we get to do this together.
That's kind of one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you and give you, like, let other people hear that from you, because I think it's more meaningful coming from you, because like you know what it's like to just be like, oh man, I've got 12 more hours of this and this sucks.
Yeah.
Like this isn't fun right now, but to still be able to actually like value the experience and getting to be out there.
Yeah, exactly.
I like what you said about breaking it down too. I think especially once you get into like half distance and Ironman and ultra distance running and that sort of thing, like you can't. I think it's too big to start thinking like, oh, I have another 12 hours or like I still have to run a marathon, because like I definitely remember like mile 80 or mile 90 of the bike, like I was in a dark place. Like I was out of nutrition and just things were falling apart. And then like when you get off the bike and like you can barely walk, you're like,
Yeah,
how am I going to do a marathon?
I know. And then you're like, once you get off the bike, you're like, oh wow, I'm done. I
Yeah.
can take a minute. And then you're like, oh no, I still gotta go out and do a freaking marathon.
Yeah, like you're now starting that thing that you used to think was like the hardest thing ever. Like like the thought like when you do your first marathon, like that's such an accomplishment. And then like in Ironman, you're like I'm dead and now I have to start.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if anyone has any questions in the chat, feel free to ask Kyle, because I don't have any set schedule. But last thing I want to talk about is you guys now have a book.
Yeah, yeah, we have a book. It's called Beyond the Finish. It's the culmination of our childhood all the way to Kona. It was a 3 year process. And we were just waiting until we got the word that we got into Kona, which took 8 years. And now the book is complete and it's on Amazon. And all of the proceeds benefit the Kyle Pease Foundation. So if you don't know what to buy for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate, the Beyond the Finish is a great book, and it's definitely different from what's going on in the media today, and it will give you some good news. And it really pulls back the curtain on the Pease brothers. It focuses on every family member in our family.
Yeah.
They all have a part, um, including my twin brother Evan, who lives in New York City. So I highly recommend it to anybody that needs or wants a feel good story for the holiday season.
Can you I think most people have probably seen the photo of you and Brent at Kona on the finish, which is the cover of the book, which is why I bring it up. I think it's fair to say, myself included, most people here are not going to get to do Ironman Kona. Uh, I put myself in that camp too. I don't think I'm fast enough. What's it like to go down the finish chute and to hear Riley call your name and get to finish that?
Oh my God, it is amazing. It is deafening. It is like running onto Augusta National or running to the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Whatever the case is amazing. It's the best feeling in the world, and to be called by Mike Riley is an honor, and it will be something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
I bet. I remember, I don't know if it's like this there, but I remember in Chattanooga, just due to the way the course is laid out, it's you're running through this neighborhood in the middle of nowhere, like right before the end, and it's really dark. Because I finished a little bit after sunset, and it was really dark, and I remember like when you come down the finishing line or finishing chute, like the lights are just overwhelmingly bright. Like that's the single biggest thing I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is, and it's really a sun up to sundown operation. And yeah, if you never been to an Ironman or a triathlon, I would encourage you to go. It just care for all the athletes that are putting their bodies through a lot, and
Hmm.
it's an amazing feeling.
It's actually, yeah, to that point, it's I used to volunteer when Ironman Coeur d'Alene, when I lived in Coeur d'Alene, like I grew up there. I
Uh,
remember volunteering at Ironman Coeur d'Alene in like 2007, maybe not 2007, 2008, 2009. Like I don't remember the exact year, but like it was so much fun to volunteer. Like I knew I wanted to do it, but I was nowhere near good enough.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's incredible, to not always see somebody like Brent and I, right? To see all the other athletes really giving it their all. It's very moving.
Yeah. Uh, I real like I think volunteering is really fun too because it's so like you just get to help people out at such like it's just like what feels like quick story of my own. I remember one time I think it was at special needs on the bike course for me. I couldn't open a package of chips in my special needs bag, and the volunteer opened it for me. And
But
I remember I was just like, "You've saved my life." I was so happy.
yeah, do you think you'll get out there again and do a race?
Yeah, so I've got two halves and a full scheduled for 2021 next summer, whatever next summer is, 2021.
Yeah, well, get out there and do it before you have kids, or if you want to have kids.
Then I'd have no time at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's a question for you, Kyle, from David. I'm curious your answer. How many hours did you train, and then how many hours do you think someone should train to do an Ironman?
That's a great question. Um, So, David, what I would tell you is, Brett trains about 25 to 35 hours a week. We would do a Ironman competition. For me, I go out with Brett about 12 weeks before the event. And we take the weekend and focus on biking run. So we spend about 10 to 12 hours together each weekend leading up to the race 12 weeks out again. But I think it's a case by case scenario. I think uh, what what may work for Brent and I may not work for you, and vice versa. So I think that whatever you're comfortable with, go for it and do that. But I think if you do Ironman or something that takes a lot of training, get a lot of energy, you should put in 25 to 30 hours a week.
Yeah, and I don't think Brent likes to say this very much, but I can say it for him. Brent is really fast. Like like you guys like I don't think people maybe know just how fast Brent is. Brent is really really fast, and then you guys together are really really fast. So they put in a lot of time. I mean, yeah, kind of like you said, it's very individual. I think my answer would be like anything under 13, 14, 15 hours a week, like you're going to have a rough time on course. Like I know there's some people who are like, "Oh, I did a full on 8 hours a week." And I'm like, "Yeah, I believe you, but that sounds like a painful day."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
David also asks, "How many years have you been doing that much training?"
Um, Again, David, it just depends on the race. For the small races like the 5Ks and all that, we really don't train. But for the major events, such as the Ironman or triathlon, I get 12 to, 10 to 12 hours per weekend. So like per day on the weekend. So 10 hours on Saturday, 10 hours on Sunday, and then we do it next weekend and all of that. So we really focus on making sure that I am comfortable in the bike. The bike is the hardest for me, and it's the most time that we're in a discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you know that's numbing to anybody. It's numbing to me to sit there for 10 to 12 hours. But you just can't go out there and say, "Okay, I'm ready," and then do an Ironman. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, I would say 10 to 12 um, per day each weekend leading up to the race.
How many years have you been doing that?
I would say about going on 8 years.
Yeah.
Uh, did our first Ironman in 2013
Yeah.
in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it definitely didn't happen overnight for you all. Like I know some of the hours that you both put in, and I don't think I could do it. Like it's a lot. Like it's a lot.
Well, never say never.
Yeah, I've learned that lesson from you. Um, yeah, it's intense. Someone asked if you have any sponsors. I'll preview that answer a little bit. I know you get sponsored by I think Boyd Cycling. I know that one. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Um, um, we got Newton, New England for our shoes. We got a company called YER. Um, and we have some others. We got Buffalo Wild Wings. They did the book, so all the proceeds go directly to the foundation now.
I didn't know that.
So they cover all the costs of the book. So if you are interested in sponsoring, or if you are interested in donating to the foundation, you can do that on our website, KylePeaseFoundation.org, and I'm sure that Jesse can put that in the notes for the show. And yeah, it will really mean a lot if you just follow us on social. I know this is a hard time for people to donate, and it is the holiday season. So even if you share something on Instagram um or Facebook or whatever you do, just share it. It's gonna open up some more eyes to the foundation as well. So yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yep. Links in the description. Yeah. No, I'm really like I love. Yeah. It just goes back to that chicken and egg thing earlier. Like I totally would. I said this publicly. I stand by this. I would like to pilot either like a visually impaired athlete, um, something like wherever the need is. Uh, I would love to help someone out, but it's this weird chicken and egg thing because like I don't know if this person out there exists and wants to do a half or a full, but like they've never had someone like Brent, like you were able to ask Brent, like, how do I do this? Like, that's the question, and I think that's what why exposure I think is so important right now too, because like you said, like you need eyes on it, because like who's out there and wants to do a race but doesn't even think it's a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you never know. You never know what you might share could open the door for other people to join the foundation. So I think that's a critical piece too. Yes, we are a non-profit foundation. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. We do rely on donations to keep the lights on and to help more athletes. And um, but at the end of the day, even if you share something, that's gonna open the door, I don't know, maybe some of the listeners on here are connected with CEOs or, whatever the case is. So sharing is a big part of what we do as well.
Yeah, and it's nice to see some positive news out there.
Yeah.
uh, Last question, and then I want to give you an opportunity to say whatever you want to say. Have you ever met any big names in Ironman, or who have you met that you really remember and is a meaningful connection that you've had? And I would also argue that I think you two are officially big names in Ironman. I'm just going to put that out there now, but carry on.
Okay. Well, thank you. Um. So, um, I met Chloe Alexander, who won Ironman several times. I met Melissa Cartwright, who is a famous triathlete as well. I met Melissa's husband, Tim O'Donnell, who is the American um, equivalent to Andre Agassi or whoever famous athlete you love in America. That's Tim O'Donnell. So he's a great dude, and yeah, I mean I've been very blessed to um, got to know the former Atlanta Falcons head coach, Dan Quinn, who has been a great friend to the foundation, and Matt Ryan. So a lot of celebrities have been very generous with their time. So I'm grateful for all the experience that I've met through this incredible journey that Brent and I are on.
That's awesome. Yeah. So like I said, last want to make sure you have an opportunity to tell people whatever I mean, I've heard you talk a lot, but yeah, what do you want people to know, and what do you want people to take away as a result of like what you two have been able to do?
Yeah, I think Justin, first of all, thank you for giving me this platform. When we set this up, it's 10 o'clock Eastern.
I know it's
So
late for you.
yeah, no, but I think this is great, and I think that what you are doing is very commendable. So I hope that this is just the starting point to what you want to do. But I think that um, just focus on what you are thankful for. As we celebrate this Thanksgiving, and you don't need to hear it from me. It's gonna look different, but it's only gonna look different if you make it look different. I think that the holidays are all about including and bringing people together, and I guess I challenge all of us to to remember why we celebrate and who we celebrate with, and without Brent, none of this would be remotely possible. And I'm grateful. I'm so thankful to be on this journey. And life is hard. Life is a big. But you have to deal with the cards that you were dealt. And you have to make those cards work for you. And I feel that I have been able to play the cards that I was dealt, and I really hope and I persevere every day that I play like a winner, and that's why I hold on to when my days get tough and when they get overwhelmed, because they do. But I'm grateful. I'm I'm really the opportunity to show what is possible, and I'll never stop until I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can say it better, man. I sure don't have anything.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. You were my first interviewee, and I think it was appropriate to have you on just because like I've known you for so long, and I should have had you on a long time ago. That's the takeaway. But it was yeah, I'm really happy to finally chat with you.
For sure, awesome me.
All right, you can hang on a sec, Kyle. Don't hang up, but I'll end this out for everybody else. Yeah, thanks for joining. If you have any, if you're interested in Kyle Pease Foundation, there's a link in the description. As always, it's a really cool organization. They do a lot of good stuff. I like the Instagram. I think is particularly good, and the website is really awesome as well. So again, thank you, Kyle, for hanging out with me for this hour. Maybe have you back again.
Thank you, buddy. I'm always available for you. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good night, Kyle. Have a good night, everybody else. Thanks for joining. Bye.
You too.